Now, here's one about a guy who definitely got in a relationship with the wrong girl. She clearly did enough screening upon getting involved with her, who absolutely went crazy when she thought he was cheating on her. Destroyed all his belongings in his apartment, attacked him, all these awful things, and eventually he got rid of her, kicked her out, got rid of all her belongings. Now she's back begging and crying with all her friends to take her back, blah, 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 and she's nuts. And he's now debating whether he should report her to the police and all that. And let me go over here, guys, to show you this kind of crazy's out there. So really do some serious vetting before you get in a relationship with some girls. Let them into your apartment, move in with them. I kid you not. And when it's necessary and warranted, you make the police report. You do the restraining order. But be careful that they don't persuade the police with a different story. Title: Am I the a-hole for threatening to call the cops on my ex-girlfriend after accusing me of cheating? It says, well, as the title goes, I, a 33-year-old male, threatened to call the cops on my crazy ex, a 27-year-old female, after she accused me of cheating. I mean, who wouldn't? She thrashed my place, slapped me, kicked me, called me the worst possible names, humiliated me by saying I have a small package. She even let me defend myself, and the worst part is that she said I wasn't able to satisfy her emotionally and physically. Okay, somebody needs anger management here. So destroyed his place, physically attacked him, all that. Now, what would happen if the situation was reversed and the guy did it to her? The police would be here faster than would be in a typical movie, and his ass would be sitting in the holding cell in jail, and the worst things you can imagine. But with her, well, he says a little bit about the backstory here. Me and my ex dated for over 5 years. We had our ups and downs, but we managed. We were a power couple, according to what others say. We were ready for marriage, and I was going to propose to her. Well, you know what? You definitely dodged a big one here. Power couple. Clearly she thinks she's, Conan the Barbarian here. Last month, before the breakup, I called and told my ex-girlfriend in advance that my female cousin, a 35-year-old female, is coming over to stay for one day and one night in my apartment because she had some official business that she's currently working on in my city. My girlfriend said, yeah, sure, so I was like, okay, thinking there would be no problem since she already met her once or twice during family gatherings. Okay, so he's making abundantly clear, my female cousin, who you've met once or twice, dingbat, is coming over to stay here. Nothing to worry about. Okay. Last week when I came from work, I found her in my apartment thrashing all over the place, screaming, you effing cheater! I was shocked. My computer, which I spent a fortune building, was broken into pieces. My shoe collection and my clothes were cut into pieces. And if that wasn't enough, she physically and emotionally abused me. She was hysterical. No amount of words would get through to her, so I told her to leave before I called the cops on her. Holy crap, destroyed his computer, cut up his clothes, his shoes and all that. We all heard he let her know that girl's staying there. Psycho. The power couple. After about 5 to 10 minutes of screaming and threatening, she then proceeds to storm off, leaving me behind with bruises. All because of a hair conditioner and an eyelash she found in the bathroom that my cousin left behind. Oh! This is when you call the police. This is when you take pictures of everything to have proof on this. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, good luck with that one, but obviously he has scratches and bruises to back this up. He's got all the stuff destroyed there. I have a very hard time believing this girl doesn't have a history of this type of behavior, but this is probably the worst. So I immediately called my parents that night and let them know what happened. So the next morning, I had my brother and some friends come over to my place to salvage whatever that's left of my belongings and change the locks in my apartment and decide to move in with my brother in the meantime. I got some nasty texts too from her and her friends and relatives, so I blocked them. So I'm confused. Is this his place, or are they sharing it together? And I say, with all the stuff she destroyed of his property, he had to be taking her stuff and go over to the pawn shop to get some money back. So 5 days later, after no contact, she came knocking on the door along with 2 of her friends, crying and begging to let her in because she wanted to talk things out. Number 1, how do they find where he is? And number 2, really? Begging and crying to talk things out? We saw before how great you are at talking things out. It says, I don't know who the F told her where my whereabouts were, but apparently my cousin told her the truth after hearing from my parents what had happened. But I'm not having any of it. I'm done. They noticed I wouldn't budge, so her friends started calling me an a-hole for not responding. She's a mess, they said. She's so sorry, they said. She made a mistake, they said. Boo-hoo. But I did not budge. My brother threatened them to call the cops, so they left. Am I the a-hole? Smack. You have to actually ask that question. No, you're not the a-hole. You're the a-hole. You let this slide. You should have made a police report. Evidence of all the stuff. She's psycho, and so are her friends, I might add. And notice the gaslighting here. He's the bad guy in this whole situation. He says, should I sue her and file a restraining order? Because I know this won't end well. I would. I would at least talk to an attorney and find out your options here at the very least, you know. But yeah, damn right. But a lot of times I think the cops are probably like, got beat up by your girlfriend. Well, then there's also destruction of property. And how about you don't feel safe around her? I think it's warranted for the restraining order, but probably to get the restraining order, he probably has to make the police report and show he has, you know, reason to feel unsafe, and that would require the pictures of the bruises and the scratches and the damage to the apartment. You know, but absolutely, if, you know, he can do that. So guys, be very careful with the girls you get involved with. He said he's been with her 5 years, and he said ups and downs. He really didn't elaborate the ups and downs here, and I don't think it was to this extreme, but I can't believe that she hasn't shown some degrees of madness over the last 5 years. I mean, who knows, you know, something set her off. So some comments. One guy says here, not the a-hole, and you're not, and you know you're not. Ignore her friends and block them. Don't interact. I would go ahead and file a restraining order. Try to document as much evidence of her abuse as you can to help support your case. You don't need much evidence to get a restraining order. Another one. This guy says, imagine the situation with the genders flipped. Ha, ha, ha. A woman tells her boyfriend, a male cousin that he met, is going to stay overnight. He mistakes something the cousin left as evidence of cheating. Instead of talking to her about it, he wrecks thousands of dollars worth of possessions and verbally and physically assaults her. When he finds out she wasn't cheating, he shows up at her new place screaming and crying and begging for a second chance, while the buddies he brought along verbally abuse the unfortunate gal for being so mean as to not run back into his arms. Does this sound like a situation you'd advise a friend to go back to? Your ex is unstable and dangerous. She wrecked your stuff and attacked you. Never give her another chance to do the same. Make a police report and an insurance claim for all the damaged property. Get a restraining order. This woman is nuts, and you do not want her in your life. Exactly. We all know darn well if the situation was reversed, how it would go. And one more. Not the a-hole. If you still have any of the bruises, take pictures. Hopefully you took pictures of your place after she destroyed it. People like that usually try to spin the narrative on what actually happened. If you can, get a restraining order, and if it's not possible, at least get this incident of abuse and destruction of property on file with the police. Protect yourself, dude. Abusive partners like her will actively try to ruin your life if they can't keep and abuse you. Right, exactly. So I hope he does the right thing here, and I hope he doesn't blow up in his face with the cop laugh him out of the police station, or, you know, she spins it out of control and says that he did something to her. I mean, you couldn't put it past her to like start punching herself or cutting herself and saying, he did it to me. I mean, you have to prepare yourself for every possible bad situation that can come your way. But this is nuts. But this happens. And the thing is, it's always the guys that get the bad rap for things like this. But guess what? There are wacko gals, and they do things like this to guys. And it should be showcased and mentioned and brought up like I'm doing here, so guys are aware of this, etc., etc. So I wish this guy all the luck in his situation.